Welcome back. It's just you and me right now, Miss Melissa.
Yeah, it's good.
Welcome back to the Sophia Files. We have another great episode today. We have some fun topics we're going to cover. We decided them last week, but we're going to go through it again. And I didn't get your private question. I didn't even think to. We'll talk about that.
I don't really have one yet. I'll have to think about it.
And see, I came to the table not really having one either. So look at us. We're doing all right, I guess. But let's cover progression of souls today, spiritual warfare, and animal protectors. Oh, and Miss Ariel's jumping in right now.
Awesome.
Welcome to the
Hello.
party.
Hey.
We just did the intro, and we're talking progression of souls, spiritual warfare, and animal protectors today. Oh, Danica's here too. Look, the whole team. That we get started.
Yay.
The whole team's coming.
Hello.
Well, hello, Miss Danica. How are you doing today?
Good. You?
I'm doing great. Well, the whole band's back together. Damn, Melissa, we were feeling so lonely. What's that song from the early 2000s? Mr.
Akon. Yeah, Akon.
You literally showed up within a minute of us starting, so you didn't miss anything.
You didn't miss anything, but we are covering progression of souls, spiritual warfare, and animal protectors. So let's go ahead and get grounded in our energy. Let's envision our guides, get them kind of into focus as we start to pelt them with so many questions that I'm sure they're like, these are not useful questions. And we're like, but we just want to know. Let us be curious.
So my guide, I told you he's funny, right?
Yeah.
So he wanted the whole glasses and the leather jacket. Now he's acting like the Fonz. So
I love it.
okay.
You said, what's up today? Let's do this. All righty. So the first question I'm going to ask, and whoever feels like they want to jump in first, please do. But I want, and again, by the way, the rules of this game, if you're new to the podcast, is we leave all of our opinions behind and we allow these answers to simply be channeled through the guides that we've worked very hard to develop long-standing relationships with. Every single one of us here have gone through hours and hours and hours of spiritual training. We've been tested with and against for accuracy with our guides. And so we're very proud of this relationship that's God-given. And basically through our connection with them and our promise of honesty with them, they work very closely with us in the work that we do. So I don't know why I felt the need to explain that. It feels like that was for somebody, but I think we got a Downton Thomas in the future. Okay. So what does it mean when I refer to the progression of a soul?
I'm thinking how we evolve from our inception as a entity throughout lifetimes that we live and how we grow and change as an entity.
I love that. Danica?
That's what I'm feeling too. It's like I'm getting an image of like a diamond in a fire, of like going through the fire and it's going through the process to be able to emerge as this like bright shining diamond.
And what about you, Ariel?
So they know that I like to play Souls games, and the basis of the Souls game is just, it's so difficult, and beating the game through different trials, tribulations, and once you beat it, you get what is called a new game plus. And so with that, it means that the difficulty is harder. And then after that, it's new game plus plus, which is harder than new game. And so I think that's what they're showing me, is that life is just a series of challenges. Whenever they're first introduced, I believe that they are given to us at a manageable but not easy difficulty. And it's only once we complete it and move on to the next lesson, the next chapter, that we are brought to that next challenging piece of the next life.
So, Ariel, I'll ask your guides, who governs what we experience in the progression of souls that we experience here?
So they're showing me call it like a committee, and I just see it as like a half oval with the multiple layers of beings. And it's almost like well, what do you want to take on? Well, this is what I want to take on. This is what I want to accomplish in this life or as a soul. And then they say, okay, well, we'll make it happen for you. And I don't believe that they'll ever give us anything that is too much or too difficult to handle.
And Danica, what do you see with that same question? Who's governing what we're allowed to do and not do?
It almost it almost feels like us, but we're all connected as one. So it is like us as well as other more experienced, other entities or souls that have more wisdom are almost like what she was saying, we're all on a committee and we're all like in this group talking about it, but we're a part of it as well.
And Melissa, what do you see or feel?
So, first off, I would say, in terms of what Ariel was speaking to, there's definitely, like in the educational, what we call it scaffolding. So, it's like there's extra supports early on, and then we pull those supports away as you level up. And so, we are part and parcel of the, I'm going to call it educational process. Like the things that come to us, we can choose them, they can be chosen for us, and there's free will. So when you throw in that wild card of free will, there are other, let's call them non-player characters and around us. So referees, people who are knowledgeable, who know who they are, they know what they're there for, that are really not there for the mortal life. They're there to be that support system for us, for humans. So it is, if my husband likes to play the tabletop like war games. So there's a little bit of planning to it. There's a little bit of the roll the dice, and there are rules and there are support characters. So it's just this very intricate system of us choosing, of surprises coming to us, support systems out there.
I love that. And in that scenario, what happens when we go off script or if things go perilously wrong in the soul progression? Danica, I'll start with you.
I see our guides and our ancestors and all of those that are trying to help us stay on our highest good. I see them like sending us nudges and things on our path to try to steer us back on our highest good path. It feels like consistently, like sending people, events, things placed in our path to try to get us back on track where we're supposed to be, is what it feels like to me.
Ariel, what do you feel?
That was one of the first things that I heard was course correction. And it is those feelings of maybe I shouldn't do this today. Maybe instead of taking a right, I'm going to turn left for this instance. And then you won't ever know that making that other turn, you avoided a car wreck. And there are just so many, they're coincidences, but we don't recognize them as coincidences because they are in our rearview mirror to the point of, I just feel like whenever things just go so wrong and it's almost like stepping out. You've completely stepped out. You have taken stage left, and now you have somebody else in the seat. And that's why when things go wrong, and you have others say, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was doing. And it's almost like, well, maybe that wasn't really you doing or thinking. It was something else, definitely.
And what do you feel, Melissa?
Yeah, so definitely there are those nudges of like, okay, you need to get back on your path. And my guide said, it's a lot like parenting the toddler, where you redirect, and sometimes that toddler's like hell bent on doing what they want to do, and you're just like, okay, as long as it's safe, I'm still gonna be around you. I'm still going to keep you from putting your hand on the stove, but you're gonna do what you're gonna do. And so, yeah, sometimes the experience that you have going off track can get you back on, and sometimes they're there just to minimize that collateral damage, and doing what they can and intervening where they can, but ultimately you have that free will. He says the interesting thing is when you have something very dangerous that comes along your path. He said that's when we work overtime. That's when we are doing our damnedest to keep that from keeping you safe from getting pulled off of track, but still you have free will.
There kind of, as you were talking, my guides were chatting about two differing opinions in my group, in my team. And it was interesting because it was a very anal energy that was coming through that was saying, no, we're doing this. It was almost listing off the things that they'll work on. And there was a very laid back energy who was like, it's not that big of a deal. And it's very interesting because it's a kind of a human thing to think about on track. Because in a lot of ways, it's like, well, if you're supposed to experience a family and you push it off to the back, but we still know you're going to get it done, we're not going to really mess with you too much. Now, if that's going to offset and make you lose an opportunity, we might push a little bit, but we don't actually feel the same urgency to much of anything. Because if you don't experience it this life, you'll just put it back on your list. It's like, it's not as intense, but just like you did say, there is definitely certain things where we really wish you wouldn't go and put your hands and feet all over a certain frequency, because it becomes challenging to get it clean. So there is a preference to, like, for instance, if there's an encroaching darkness in your field, let's say it's someone you've chosen to date, someone you've chosen to have children with, like whatever it could be, really, there will be, hopefully, they're talking about one of the hardest things to cut through is our own belief about something that's bad for us. So once we believe it's good, they're like, sometimes we don't know what else we can do because there is not anything that will, that's when it gets challenging. And then they just start giving you flat tires and doing things that really indicate this is just not a great path forward when this stops being an option for them. And I know you're talking directly at me.
And well, and I had that for me, like when I was dating my daughter's father, my first husband. He is a good person, but we were not, I don't feel like we were meant to, our paths to like coalesce. It was supposed to be crossed and be done. And yeah, my whole life was like a series of like redirect, and I could feel it at the time. It's like, I know I'm not on path. And that was, again, before I realized that I was getting these
Nudges.
messages. But yes, I look back and it's like, ooh, okay, I gotcha.
Well, and in defense of all of us and every human that exists anywhere, we literally listen to our guides for part of a living or soon to be part of a living. And we know how hard it is. And we do this. So you can imagine how hard it is to reach the average Joe. Let's not even mention, let's go to the average atheist. It's just like, it's a hard job, this guideship thing. So we kudos to them for doing it with us. The next question I want to ask is, what is the process in that in between when we pass a lifetime, pass as in die, when we die from a lifetime, when we wake from a lifetime? They were like, please say this correctly. I'm sorry. When you drag your ass through, no, when you wake from the lifetime, what is that process like from the perspective of the guides? You know, my question would be, is it kind of like welcoming a friend that just woke up from a nap? It's like, how did it go? Or where do they sit within that energy for them personally? So I'm speaking to your guides specifically, and I'll see what my guide says.
So mine is saying it is intensive care. It is a delicate time, and they are hands-on with you more during that transition phase than they would be otherwise, because it is disorientating. It can feel traumatic, and so that is where they're giving you the most help.
What do you feel, Danica?
Yeah, I feel like what she was saying about it being disorienting, it feels like there's almost a lot of like wanting to go and like it's almost like you can see the bird's eye now, and it's like this feeling of urgency to go back and like fix everything. That's what it feels like.
And what do you feel, Ariel?
They prepared a very nice herbal bath, and they're describing it to me as, I think it's just for me personally, but they're describing it to me as like a spa day, and in the nicest way, that you're going to relax, you're going to let go, and you're going to just be. And whenever you're done, we can go sit in the green room and we'll just do like a recap of what you did right, where you believe things went wrong, and I want to say what could be done different next time. And they're just saying, you know, it's all small, like it's just a drop in the ocean of this experience, and to not fret, not sweat as much.
And my guide, he was saying his favorite part about that process for anyone, his charges, if you'd want to say it that way. So me or anyone he's worked with before, he's talking about it. He's like, part of it is almost a party planning because there, in order to soothe us, more often than not, there is a gathering of animals we haven't seen before. Someone has to go get them. There is loved ones that we haven't seen in a while. Someone has to go get them. So he's like, it's an orchestration on that level, often. But he said, and he's speaking to, he said, it's funny. The more people that you have affected positively in your life, the more people want to attend the party. And he said sometimes it can be examples where it would be too much. So he's like, it's a little bit, it can be offensive, from our human perspective, because some people are, it would be too much for us to see it in that sense. But he was saying his favorite feeling is when we remember we were never alone. And he's really saying, from a human condition, it's very busy. And like y'all said, there's a healing quality. It's also about picking who's going to be present that can benefit you the most, which is really a judgment that only guides that were with you can make. So he's kind of patting the back of the importance of them from that regard, because even though somebody wants to, it's just like what we do in spirit. We have to tell people sometimes, like, you got to stop talking. There's no value here. Like, she doesn't know you, and so that can happen. But the healing component. And then as far as that sort of what people read about or feel about the life review, he's talking about how when you remember that all you're doing is going downstairs almost, and that's why he's saying downstairs into that game, you're more excited to see each other in that game because there's no fear. And he said that's what gets us in trouble a lot, is that we'll be like, oh my God, I'll see you in the game. You're gonna die though halfway through, right? And because we're on different levels, but I am gonna see you, right? And so if you don't see them, you have this innate longing, because you're like, I feel like I was supposed to meet someone. And then if you do see them and then they do pass, like on schedule, depending on our fragility at the moment of death, that could not go the way it was intended. So we make all these plans with no fear in our mind. And that's also, he's kind of talking about, it's hard for them to see it too sometimes. He's like, because it's not really like they know fear like we know it, even when they're helping us plan it. So there's a lot of caution, but just like we caution a little kid, you can't threaten them with the result of it. Or just like readings, we can't threaten them with, like, if you do this and this goes bad, how do you think that's going to go? They aren't playing that game either. So it's he's kind of saying, and he's talking to me, but he's saying the more stubborn ones are a little bit more challenging to coax through those processes. He said the younger souls are very easy. I love that though, because it's like we do feel alone here a lot, especially us. We have to go against the stream to get the work done that we have to do, often with our own soul. Alignment and feeling a part of, that's not something that we always have the privilege of, because my God, he's kind of saying, because of what you choose to do here. It's almost like if everybody gets to go together on the I don't know why I said the Titanic, because no one made it there, like on a Titanic like ship. I'm sorry. Like, that's fun for them, but it's almost like we get sent off on little like tugboat mission ships. And so even as we go down in, there's almost like an honor, because it's like, we'll see you on your own shore after your own experiences, when everyone else is kind of doing that. So he's recognizing there's a lot of honor when we come back in for so many souls. And it's not, I'm not saying we're elite in any way, but just those who love, those who stay in touch with their love, those who fight the good fight. I just heard, like, that good fight of trying to remain human, trying to remain whole. Those, that there's an acknowledgement that is the lonelier path, an acknowledgement that you're going to be against the grain when everything here is kind of saying, conform, become part of the collective. Sorry about that. I don't know why he does. Anyways, I'm going to move on. Let's go into it personally. Danica, based on what your main guide is saying, do you transition through lifetimes easily or challengingly?
It feels like challenging, because it feels like I go through a lot of tough things, that it feels like it's challenging.
I just heard it's challenging of wanting for it to have been different. What about you, Melissa?
They say, yeah, you're challenging for us because you sit down and you dissect everything and you're there with your notebook. You're like, okay, how can I do that better next time? What influences were around me? I need to be aware of those. And he's like, just stop. So that's how I'm.
How do you feel, Ariel?
I almost feel like put off. And it's almost that feeling of, hey, remember that you said that you were going to do this at this time? It's like, hey, remember you said in a year that you wanted to go in and do this. Well, that year's here. So, I think it's like a little resistant, and it does feel tiring to come in. I don't know that I've really had a lot more positive experiences than negative, and that is what some of that resilience is. That's just what, and then, but I choose to come in. I choose to believe that things will be different this time, whatever that means, and here we go.
Yeah. The word they used for me is I can be careless. And I'm over optimistic. They kind of, if there's anyone who's guilty of like try to put all of it on your plate to try and do everything at all at once, they're like, you didn't do any of this last time. Can you just try just one thing? So one of the things that from a soul perspective, and I've been getting this a lot lately with my clients. So we're going to talk about it from that perspective too. We hear a lot of times that there is a war over our soul, a war of good and evil, right? So how do the guides perceive personal spiritual warfare? And I'm looking for things like, do they find it very frequently? Do they find it very challenging for them to combat? What does this look like for them as a topic? And I'll start with Ariel.
There are up times, and there are down times. Right now, I believe we are in an up time of where our souls are more wanted, and that is taken into consideration as far as when we come in and when our guides choose to come in. And it feels like, what is it like when you are at in an army, or you're on a team or something, and you're compatibly put together. You're two halves of a whole.
Yes. And what about you, Danica?
I'm being shown like a light turned on in the darkness, and like all of these kind of like bugs or whatever, like going towards the light. So it feels like to me like the brighter you shine your light, the more spiritual warfare is going to be gravitating towards you. And it feels like the guides are like, the more they need to be on top of their game to help.
There's a weird topic just real quick around permissions. They're like, please give us the permission to do our jobs because they do need that still. Melissa?
Yeah, so he's telling me that there's low level spiritual warfare that sometimes we let you handle because you're able to. And he said, and there's a level of preparation for instance, the souls that are being woken up now. You trained for this, and it was almost as if you were the sleeper cell, and now we're waking you up. So you're spread out everywhere because we're getting into and things are amping up, and he said the hostile takeover has begun. So yes, we need your permission. Yes, you are likely at some point in your lifetime going to come across a larger hostile takeover. Sometimes they win, but not very often. So he said there's a lot that we can do. And free will is what they target. They really try to ensnare you into thinking this is something that's going to be good. It's a trickster type targeting, but more and more right now, those who have trained and those who have been put in place in this world are turning the tide.
And I'd like to, if we could, I know that most people will not know what we're going after, but if anybody can help me bring the energy of a gentleman named Max Spears into this conversation, I would say he is probably one of the beacons that we lost. And I just would like to know if he's doing okay, where he is, if he'd like to say anything, or if he's unavailable.
Is this somebody that you knew?
This kind of a younger gentleman, because I have a younger gentleman here. Like I would say like 30s.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say upper 20s. I'm seeing somebody with like sandy blonde hair.
Yes.
Caucasian.
Yep.
Do we have a specific question for him?
Is he okay? Did he pass over healthily and well? And did he know that he was going to be departing in the way that he did?
I get that he didn't know that he was going to depart that way. He made it over fine.
I hear that it was a little rocky.
Well,
Yeah,
I
he
just want to
made it.
say,
Yeah.
well, I want to say thank you. And I want to really send him love and really understand that, you know, we lost a real one when he passed.
He's kind of going like this.
Like, I
thank
just
you.
want to cry. So to give some context, he was a survivor of a lot of MK Ultra stuff. He was a survivor of a lot of mind erasure. And he wound up going out on that limb to just literally look crazy to the world, to bring awareness into sort of what's going on right now, what's going on with our souls, and very, very much, I would say, a reluctant warrior when it came to this, but also very, very, very good soul. He was waking up so many people, and they got him, you know, and I think that he knew he wasn't going to be here a long, long time. I think that was probably part of the deal. I almost feel like it was a lot. This whole experience was so much. So thank you. And if nobody knows who that is, I really recommend that you go figure out some of his interviews. I don't want to speak too much on it because I don't want to get us in trouble. But he was a brother of us in all the ways that you could really see that. So I love that man, and I'm sorry that it went that way. But especially in the spiritual warfare, he was very, very much a strong component or proponent of that we are going to be okay, that it has been decided. If he has any messages, this would be an opportunity for him, or we'll let him go, because I know that he probably is called upon quite a lot.
I'm hearing keep going, keep going.
You're surrounded in love.
Yeah.
He's a good
It's
one.
like he's clapping.
Well, we're trying to do it right. But okay. I want to see if my guides have anything more on spiritual warfare they want to talk about, because we also recognize how can one, okay, what is your guides, and I'll start with you, Ariel. How do we protect our free will? How do we guard against these influences?
They're playing a song for me, so how I interpret that is to know your own song and to sing your song as loud as possible. And it's almost a repellent to those who don't, not that they don't know their song, but they're playing all the wrong notes. And it is a training process to keep up your guard. It is making the decisions that have your highest interest in mind. And while they may not always make sense, like I feel like they are being logged in the system. There's coins in a piggy bank, and every choice that you make for the good is another coin in. And it's almost like an armor upgrade. It's putting you into a different.
They were showing me one of the labels of a penny that you can put in every day is I like myself. And at least, because sometimes we struggle to love ourselves and to know even what that means. But if you wake up and you're like, I look cute today, this'll do. That's a penny. Danica, what does your team say about guarding against spiritual warfare?
I'm being shown like the manual, say like the manual to like yourself, and knowing what your patterns are, so that you recognize when you're getting a little bit out of tune or a little bit off course, so that you're able to know what can bring you back, so that you're in coherence and in tune with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it attracts whoever else is going to harmonize with you, is what I'm hearing as well.
I love that. Melissa?
Yeah, they're kind of piggybacking on that. Your personal harmony is the most important thing that you can find, so that you know what resonates with you, and listening to the cues, listening to your intuition, and see your son. That is not being gullible, is what he's saying. Think things through. Don't just take anything on verbal. Like you just can't take anybody's word for it anymore. You really have to advocate for yourself, stand up, think things through, and be a steward to yourself.
And the A/B testing of, does this feel right? But they're making it literally right, as in like if you went to the store at 7 a.m. and you left frazzled, clock that. That didn't feel right. It was too early, it was too busy, or it was too empty. It felt eerie, or you just weren't ready to go do that early. Like, really ask yourself, does it just feel right from a right or wrong, not moral? Because that's one thing I remember when I was training with you. Oh, by the way, guys, Danica graduated. She's done.
Yay!
I was going to completely mention that earlier. So I'm so proud of you and I'm excited. I didn't kind of realize that's what was happening after I logged off. And I was like, oh my God, we just decided. So
I
that's
know.
awesome.
I didn't either.
I love it. But at one point, my guides were saying, when you move into your new apartment, you need to be checking different parts of your day. When do you want to drink coffee? Because you've been moored to a family existence with a pattern and a structure. And that was what they were trying to get at is we need to sometimes check. Next year is a perfect time to do that with the 1 year. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect time to change any habit that you have. The energy is with you to get more in alignment with who you decide you want to be, i.e., for at least this check-in spot, almost like a checkpoint. Who do you want to be? Which part of your song are you going to bring forward? And also, they were saying when it comes to knowing your song, this is my favorite part because I struggled to do this, or I used to struggle and now it's better. Call out the stuff that you do. If you worry a lot, you're like, this is part of my song, guys. I'm not going to go sit here and shit. Like, I worry. And so sometimes I worry early in the morning. Sometimes I worry, this is my song. I'm a little bit of a worrier, but I love how I almost heard warrior because Melissa, you are a warrior as well. That's so funny. But you are a little bit of a warrior. And they're kind of saying when we can almost just be like, yeah, and it's in the song. Look, it's on that note right there. That's us still claiming it, and that is very strong against darker energies. Because unless you plan to heal all that right now, which none of us probably can, at least protect it from being manipulated. Because if Melissa shames herself for worrying, then the darkness can come in and say, look, you're doing it again. Look at a failure. She's worrying again. She sucks.
Yeah.
And
That's
how
what it's
they
been
get
like
in.
this week. Yes.
And well, I didn't mean, I didn't, well,
No,
anyways.
I'm just saying that is exactly the point. Yes. When you are allowing yourself to be not your authentic self, and you have to be cognizant of those changes to your song. So yes, that is accurate.
Is that not beautiful too that your guides were saying, no, it's not a Melissa lifetime thing. It's a Melissa in between lifetimes thing too. So that makes it that much more forgivable. It's like, y'all, that till birth, till death, this is how I'm going to be. And I love myself. It's going to annoy me about myself sometimes the more I become conscious of it. But there's no version of this being expunged from you. So I think, man, if I need a problem solved, Melissa, here are all the details. Please help me. And she's going to look underneath every stone and every stone that might ever be. And I'm in good hands. They just played the Allstate. They're like, Melissa's got good hands. You want to be in Melissa's hands. So
I'm the fixer.
I'm here for that. We all have these things where it's just like, earlier today during training, Ariel was very polite in her readings and she struggled with that. And so I was thinking about that after we got off the call and I was thinking, this is who you are. You are very polite. Like I'm trying to teach you like you're going to be delivering messages like I do. But I have an issue where I'm a little bit too carefree. Sometimes my guides are like, that's not how we said that. And your issue is just that you don't want to hurt anybody. That's not an issue. That's something that can be overcome and dealt with. But it was a good reminder to me of like, we all have our own unique song. It's not going to be wise to try and get you to sing like me or me to sing, that's just a reality. That I also heard there was a feminine energy that just said, but you guys make a great quartet. So I love that. That's cool. Do you feel at any, what do you think your most recent spiritual attack would be considered? And I'll start because you guys are in my personal world, a couple months ago. Before I was allowed to see certain things, I had to pass through this checkpoint and I feel like it almost killed me. It was just so much. But it also was such a release when I took care of it. And that was the most remembered thing I feel about it was, oh my God, my isolation. I was being pushed so aggressively to stop talking to any type of comfort or anything close to that. So that's the number one thing I would say is like, really don't pull away from people when you start going through stuff. What about you, Danica?
I would say the most recent was my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely I was disconnected from myself. And so standing up for myself was so uncomfortable to get out of that. But now I feel, I don't know if powerful is the right word, but it's like I look back at that now, and it hasn't been that long. I'm still not divorced, but it's like, why did I stay in that for so long?
I just heard competent, confident, and in control.
I heard empowered.
Yes. Yes. I love
Yeah.
that.
But it was definitely something that I had to go through and learn.
Well, and the choke point to actually say I'm done, that was really hard. What about you, Ariel?
I still feel like it's an ebb and flow, and it is just the call of darkness to say, you know what, maybe you're not having as much fun as you think you are. Why don't you just let it all go and hang out with us for a while? And I recognize that if I do go that way, then it would just be going back to where I was several months ago, and it's just a pit of despair and like a dark hole, and it's just not a fun place to be. So just being able to brush off those experiences, or just recognizing like, hey, you can't stay here. You got to go somewhere else. I got shit
Yeah.
to do today.
I love that. It's like you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Turn the volume all the way down so that way I can't hear you talk.
I love that. And it's, that is hard though.
Yeah.
Especially because some of us have a real knowledge and familiarity with darkness. Like it's not overly scary sometimes. Sometimes it looks a little bit like home.
The friends on the other side.
Right. It's like, exactly. They're like, remember when you used to hang out with us? You used to like us. Why'd you leave?
Yeah, that's what a little bit ago when we were talking, and they're just showing me a path, like dark alleys where you have your white rabbit, and it's like, follow me. And you're just, they're running faster than you can keep up, and you're turning left, you're turning right, and then before you know it, it's too late to find out where you've gone.
It's the smoking caterpillar, and he's like, welcome back. I love though, it's our mistakes and our BS that make us very, I think, very palatable to, like, I find you guys so fun because there's not a point where I feel like I'm going to scare you guys, or like that there's anything negative that could really be that scary. And there are certain people that I would never mention the things that I've talked to with you and about you, because it's like, I don't want to, this isn't your depth. And I have no need. I used to, when I was younger, I used to need everyone to see the world as darkly as I did to feel like you were my friend. And that's not protective. That's almost just like me wanting to make sure everyone's injured so that I don't feel left out. And now it's almost like, look, there's no scars on that person. Like, leave them alone. Like, and I feel protective of them. So that's a healed state, which sometimes I feel like, I'm sure we've all felt, and I'm sure some listeners have felt like that day would never come. But you'd be like, dang, did I do it? Did I heal up somewhat? And then there's always a new boss. It's like, oh, but now it's your ego, or now it's raising a family, or now it's switching jobs. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe I just want to go do bad things with my friends again. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to beat the responsibility boss.
No, what they're showing me too is that when you do decide that you are above a situation, and in that connotation of, I just don't want to deal with this anymore, I have better places to be, you have other things to do, it's almost like standing up. You're standing up out of the illusion. And imagine like the blocks that we build as kids, and you just kick the blocks over. And I think it's very important to realize that you do have that power. You do have that within you, even if you have to dig really deep, and just recognize that you can do this.
Well, and they're showing me we've all seen those videos of the dogs that freak out in the water and then realize they can stand just fine. Well, and what a fun segue actually too, because so animal protectors, animal guides, I'm going to throw it all in there. They're not always the same. Some of them are just really animal. They're not your guide. They don't even particularly like you. They don't care about you. But for some reason, your guides have convinced them to go do something. They're pulling into, when I had lunch with Danica, I felt that we had some overly energized birds around us at that time. And I remember thinking, you guys are just answering our guides. Thank you so much. They listened, but it wasn't overly personal. And so that's one of the ways they can help us. But Ariel, take it away. What do your guides say about animals? Let's just say the animal kingdom in regards to spiritual warfare.
They're showing me like a tier system, a TIER system.
Well, with you, we never know. I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
No,
A
tiers.
tier
Because
system.
that's your strength.
And they're just the lower levels. If you don't listen to those, then we'll send you a higher level. And then if you don't listen to that, then we'll send you the
Wait,
next one.
what's the higher level?
It would have to be like an apex predator.
Oh, you're talking about tiers as far as like the actual animal.
Yeah,
I see.
like tiers of animals. But then we start to associate certain animals with certain feelings or certain events. And then that is how people label those as my creature. I know that if I see, okay, for me personally, it's kind of goofy, but I always look for the three crows. And then this could be nothing, it could just be me. But it's almost that, well, I know if I see the three crows, then I know that it's almost above me.
I love that. When did you first have that experience of them personally being important to you?
A few months ago. And so what I started doing was putting seed out in the yard. And I just remember it took maybe a month or two for them to come. But I just remember whenever they did come, it was always three that came. And I was just so happy, like my crows. And even now, I can be like across town and see three crows. And I know they're not mine, but my crows.
That's so weird, though. What you don't realize is I wait for things to occur 3 times before I take notice of them. I was at Terry's house. Terry's talking about she's got this family of crows. And then I'm watching this last week, I'm watching a podcast where they're talking about no, it was my work. He was saying, "Oh yeah, we have a family of crows." And now you're mentioning it again. So I'm like, "All right, what the fuck's up with the crows?" For me,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
just not to take from you, but I'm like, what do you,
Oh,
why? I'm
look,
always like,
there's
what do
your
you
three.
need?
There's your three.
What do you want? It's the Adam, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I love that though. Danica, what is your set of, if you do have animals that you prefer or if you feel are personal to you, what do you think yours are?
Definitely dragonflies. Dragonflies are in connection with my daughter that has transitioned. Another one, which is funny that we're talking about this, is, when I do meditations, I often see owls, like white owls, and foxes. And on my drive home last night from spending time with my son, it was dark and I was turning left to get on the freeway. So I wasn't going very fast. And right there, right when I turned left, in my headlights was a fox.
Oh, cool.
It was so cool.
I
So,
love that.
yeah, it's just, they just show up in like the most random times and places. And it's pretty
And usually when
amazing.
you're happy is what I just heard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
And Melissa, what are yours?
Well, my instinct would say cats. My guide says, no, it's all the little woodland creatures. He said, you spent so many lifetimes like talking to the animals. He said, it's the little squirrels, it's the little rabbits, it's, the ones that come by your house when you didn't think they would. This whole neighborhood has like woodland creatures all over the place. But even back in Texas, we would have bobcats that would come and hang out in our front yard. And then cats in general. I have 4, obviously. It's a big thing for me. But
I love it.
I just feel more drawn to cats. So I would say that, yeah.
And let's go into the dichotomy if we haven't already. I can't remember. Of what do you think as far as, oh, this is a fun question that just was said. Which collective of not domesticated animals aid us the most? What do your guides feel? Ariel, I'll start with you.
So they're using the word avian. So
I just heard birds.
avian.
I just heard birds too.
Watchers, like as owls,
Watchers.
the observers, the watchers. Yeah.
And I think too, because they travel so far, they can travel so far too. So it's almost like a relay of information from one to the next. Because if we think birds can't talk, then we are obviously very wrong.
Yes. And what do you feel, Danica?
Mine, I heard more mystical. So mine was first dragons and then fairies.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's tap into that, just out of curiosity. Let's tap into the fairy collective, the fae collective. How are they feeling right now with this energy that's current, with the uptick in the darker energies? Given what do they have to say about that? Ariel, I'll let you start.
It's a dance. I almost feel like a jig type dance. In that we've been waiting our time to shine. I think just, recalling our conversation on fairies before, but they might be some sort of aid to us, I believe. Okay, like Tinkerbell with her little pixie dust, just adding the whimsy out there.
Go ahead, Melissa.
So I feel like they're not necessarily feeling fealty to humans. They come across to me as a little bit like the ones who sit back and gossip with each other, and they're watching. Like I did this, it's it's not a nice thing to do. My best friend and I at the time in high school, when we would get there early and we'd sit and we watch everybody come through, and my friend would just trash talk them as they come through. And I
Yes.
think back and I'm like, oh my God, that was horrible. But I feel like that's what they're doing. It's like they're going to intervene if it benefits them. If it entertains them. But really, they're just watching. It's like, well, that one's really bad. We're gonna stop that. We're gonna be the monkey in the works for that one. But otherwise, we're just gonna sit here and pop our popcorn.
I feel they were showing me a little bit. The first thing I saw was them putting leaves over their doors, kind of like in the movies when we were younger, when like something bad is happening in the forest and everyone like covers up and acts like they're not there. I feel like that's a little bit the energy. But also, I feel that they're very much more, they have a hand in concealing things from the dark side. So if you're going out in their areas and you're trying to do some weird stuff, they're going to divert you. They're going to prevent you from finding your way home. They're going to just basically mess with you if your energy is of a vibration that they're like, you're a problem. But are they going to war? No, they're like, they're not after, they're almost like, they're not after us. And Danica, what do you feel?
I felt what you felt, that they were like, I heard hiding. They were hiding, but it's almost like they are gathering more together versus being separate. Like they're hiding together in more clusters.
For safety, numbers and safety.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that would beg the question, are they being hunted right now?
I heard the collateral damage.
And what about the trolls? I heard someone say, what about us? So I need to figure out who that is. And when I asked who that is, they just said trolls. So I'm going to go there. But more like the land-bound, like gnomes, those energies that are not quite so well. They just said without the good PR.
I have them there. Coming across to me is sort of like the linebackers in the football game. So like they're ready to play, but there's only so much they can do.
They're also, they are playful. They're still, I get that feeling that you picked up with the fairies. I almost want to say pixies, but where they're kind of like earthbound protectors.
Because I was hearing they can be heavy hitters. They can protect. They can take some action, but that's not like they have to be provoked. They're not going out to protect.
What is their relationship with energies like Bigfoot, those interdimensional energies? Because I almost feel like they run and get it. I almost feel like they have some relationship with portal energy.
I'm hearing we're forgotten until it really matters.
Okay. Ariel, what do you feel?
Trying to pick up on it. It's not really clear right now. I think whenever it was trolls, it was like, okay, well, which one? The singing ones? The green ones, moss-covered trolls. There's not just one type. I believe that there's a variety of them, and to put them all in one basket is...
I'm sorry.
No. It's like, it's comical.
They said all trolls matter. I'm just kidding. I'm so sorry.
When Danica mentioned the portals, I believe that, they also have a role in saying who can and can't come through.
I feel that.
Who can and can't come through at the time. It's very timeline driven.
Yeah, it feels like they're like almost close to the portals, just like kind of dopey chilling there. And then when it really matters, then they come out and do their thing. And then it's like they go back or something.
That's well, I mean, and what do we, oh my gosh, what is all the, remember in our youth when it was like you have to, well, I'm thinking of Philadelphia, Always Sunny, and that's not what they're talking about, but there's a point where he's like, you have to pay the toll, the trolls toll. And I'm not trying to call everyone trolls, but it's almost like, but they're always in alignment with passage.
Mhm.
They're always having something to do with whether you can go or not. Interesting. I've never once thought about them once, so I'm sorry. A, B. That's so weird that they're really almost an engineering component, like a lever. How interesting. What is the sort of deer community like? The deer energy, that deer collective. For some reason, that's being brought to focus as important. And I'll let you start, Melissa.
I'm just hearing that they're observers. I'm not really getting a lot on that. Observers and that they're a barometer. I'm just not quite sure what they mean by that.
Oh, hello. And then what do you feel, Ariel, about deer? Oh my God, just said, hello, deer.
I definitely feel like there is a distinction or there's a separation between the bucks and the does.
I agree. I felt that.
They're bringing me also just to the fuzz on the antlers that they get. Okay. So, but whenever they are trying to shed that fuzz, have you seen them? They look scary as hell when they just because they're bloody and they're dripping.
Mm-hmm.
And we should think of them like as a deterrent. Okay, so like a deterrent of other things. Maybe not to hunters necessarily because that's what they look for, the big bucks. And the does just as the nurturers of the fawn. And it's really sad. I saw the picture of the doe bought, and like not a real one, but like the fake one, the Target one. And then it was down, and then the little baby fawn was laying next to it. It was real sad.
Oh, dude. I have seen that. And what about you, Danica? Are you getting anything of importance from the deer?
I'm being shown almost like them being compared to us, like side by side. Like, think of like Bambi with learning to walk on your Bambi legs, like us. And then, you go through life and towards, you're maturing and you become have a lot of wisdom. It's like I'm seeing a very stoic, like muscly buck with like big horns and that. Like that's what I'm being shown. It's very comparable to us.
Well, I love that, and I love so one of the things I was feeling as a theme or as an energetic theme for them is, for whatever reason, they are the way showers and healers. And I don't really know why, other than that's what it's almost like other animals use deer tracks. That's one of the first things. So they're kind of like, because I was asking from the concept, they were just showing me as important, and then they were showing me in the Harry Potter series, the whole thing gets solved through a deer Patronus or whatever. And they were comparing that as lighting away, but in a more literal sense. And then there's something about the fur that has healing properties, and I don't know anything about this. But if I look that up, I think that would shake out to be true. But there's
I
something
think that might be the color of the fur, because there's a big deal around white deer in the Native American community being significant. So I don't know if that's where you're being led to.
Well, they're showing me if you pack a wound with deer hair, it's somehow beneficial to us. I know nothing about this, but I do know my main guide is a little bit Native American, whatever that really means, because he's probably been 100 things 100 times. But I feel like he's the one kind of highlighting this is just valuable. He's like, well, while you're discussing these topics, they're left out almost, or something. I don't know.
So to your point, in terms of like them being significant amongst wildlife on Earth in terms of healing, what I was being told is, as far as the barometer is, when the deer are scattered in terms of they're not organized anymore, like their webbing starts to dissolve and fray, that is your barometer. That is when you know that there are forces that are working against nature.
They just showed, oh my God, this is so weird. Do you remember in Chronicles of Narnia? Chronicles of Narnia. Whenever they get all together and they fight evil. But y'all remember that scene where it's literally like they all go to bat with us. Do we feel that there is some truth to that on the spiritual realm as well? If there was this final battle, where would do they even take sides of light and dark?
They're saying it depends. They're here for the Earth. It depends on if it's going to benefit Earth for humans to still be here.
Yes.
I'm hearing they hold a lot of earthly wisdom. Yeah. And I was also hearing when you're talking about the fur, that it's not just the fur, like you almost have to like add something to it. It's not like fire or something, but you have to add something to it for it to create the healing properties.
Wow. Okay. See, I don't know. I
I
should know more about this. See, I love how we're all just like, I hope we're right because we don't know. I love this. I want to see if there's any messages from the deer that I can get. This is very cliche, I think, but there's something around call us when you're lost. Literally, like energetically, it's like we are very naturally self-compassed. We are not going to get lost in certain way. Like meditate on us if you're feeling like you need direction. And I think that's super cool. And for some reason, the eagle wants to come through. So I want to just get some messages about apex eagles, hawks. What do we get from that collective, Melissa? Because they have been used in a lot of evil signs and signals. They kind of aren't. We don't want to represent that. So what does that mean? I just heard with a lot of confidence. We are the modern phoenix.
Yeah, I'm going to have to spend some time on that one.
Ariel, I'll let you start if you'd like.
Would we say that they also kind of have their own consciousness as far as which way they want to go?
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing messages tied to the legs, so how they used to be used as carriers, hence like carrier pigeon. Just thinking like in Mulan where Shan Yu had that eagle with him, and he was just as evil as Shan Yu. But they can make the choice on their own, is what I feel.
Oh my God, I was sitting here like racking my brain how that could be true. My guides were like, don't y'all have serial killers? Don't y'all have the bad eggs and you too? I'm like, you're right. Even, other energies want power too. And they can be
That's
courted.
something that they were communicating to me, is that they themselves were hunted because of their magical spiritual symbolism and properties, and they've kind of done their own thing in terms of like staying away from humans. Like they're really not happy to be around humans.
And what do you feel, Danica?
The first word that came to me when you asked was pride. And it does feel like they have a lot because it feels like they see all, they know all. And it feels like they were attacked for that or used in a bad way or in a harmful way. And so they've like secluded and they don't want anything to do with anyone.
Well, what they're showing me as well is there would have been a time, very much like Game of Thrones, and I understand that people are going to, but we would have had, if we had the ability, and we did, if we had the ability to overcome each other's minds and dominate in that way, we were doing that to animals. So we would have been shoving our consciousnesses into theirs or trapping theirs and taking over their bodies. So we would have really been disposing of their essence to utilize their wings. So that's a travesty. That's a tragedy.
You know what? They're showing me that you've heard of like psyops, like with government. They've been used for that as well.
Yes.
So yeah, that's another reason why they're just like, we're done. We're separation. Right. We're over here. You were over there.
Eagles specifically have a unique aspect where when they hit that age of around 40, which is also a sacred number in all of our scripts, right? 40 days, 40 nights, all these things. But around that age, their claws basically their talons go too far inward. Their beak will go into their chin. And so they fly up off and they have to pluck out all of their feathers. They have to beat their beak off and bite. Before they do that, they have to bite their claws off. If they are willing to endure that, they can live up to the age of 80. If they're unwilling to do that, then they will eventually be not able to hunt anymore. So there's a huge amount of sacrifice in their experience, and that's why they were giving me, I'd forgotten that fact. They were giving me we're the modern day Phoenix, but there's pain in this rebirth. Like, this is self-inflicted, it's self-chosen, and there is a lot of pride through that, to have almost 2 life cycles if you're willing to. How often do we have to go put ourselves through the fire to become what we need to become? But guys, what amazing. Oh, go ahead,
I was
Ariel.
going to say, do you think that is where like the midlife crisis comes from almost?
Yeah.
Of knowing that either you are not super happy with the way that things have been, now you want to change everything because you don't know how to mitigate one versus the other. So it's like, just throw them all up. And then you create the life that you want going forward.
Well, and now it's happening to us younger and younger. Like, the joke being like, well, everyone's going through their quarter life crisis. It's like these checkpoints are getting rushed. Because again, one of the things I keep saying is, as this spiritual upheaval continues, we are going to continually be pelted with the question of having to answer, are you who you want to be? I hope that you are, because we're about to have to really lock in. That feeling is going to continue to be pushed forward more and more, especially with people like us. And most confusingly, people who don't know will continue to be brought into our path so that we can help them. So if we have off air, Melissa and I were just talking about, we struggle with empathy, like, bad sometimes. Like, I can be in readings, I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand why this is how you feel. I don't understand why this is what you're doing with your life. Meanwhile, I'll conveniently forget the BS I've just recently been up to. But anyways, but it's like, no, if you know who you are, you're going to be almost inundated with people who need to scan your QR code to figure out, how did you figure out who you are? That's one of the reasons we're here, that lighthouse energy. Which Ariel gave me the cutest card last night. It was of the hand-painted lighthouse. And it also re-inspired, you don't know this, but I asked for watercolor stuff from Terry from Christmas. So I'm about to be a painting machine.
Let's go.
Y'all can be like, please stop bringing me these photos. And be like, don't you like it?
You have plenty of wall space behind
you. I know. Oh my God. Maybe that's what I'll do. Well, in my new office, maybe I'll just fill it up with, I almost said bad watercolor. And then they were like, don't do that.
Art is interpretive.
Well, please don't interpret a low IQ when you see mine. We have to be bad sometime, right? I love you so much, guys. Thank you again so much for meeting with me. I cannot wait. Next week is Halloween. Oh my God. Someone come get me. I'm tired. Next week is Christmas. What, on that Wednesday, right?
Thursday.
Okay, cool. So no meetup, obviously. Thursday after that will be the 1st. So for all y'all except Danica, because you'll be out of town, and I'm super excited. You're gonna be having so much fun.
Yes, I am.
But
Where you
I'll
going?
see you guys.
Just
I know, right?
Austin and Wimberley.
Okay,
And
good.
notice she didn't invite us, y'all.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We'll peek out of the bushes. Are y'all having fun in there? Like the mean girl's mom. Do you need anything?
Y'all are more than welcome to join if you want.
I'm just teasing.
Have fun.
I genuinely love you guys. Thank you so much all the time. I look forward to these Thursdays so much. So
Yeah, me too.
You guys are amazing.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
We
all.
will pick our topics next year. I'll see you guys next year. And it's going to be a good one.
Yes.
Bye.
Stay on here real quick so I can get y'all's downloads. I'll cut that out. But I love you. Thank you.
Love you.